Hey everybody, this is Jewelyn. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my home here in Santa Monica, California, and welcome to Summer 2020 Plant Tour Episode 3, where I share with you how I'm styling plants in my Santa Monica studio. Now, if you watch my Spring 2020 Plant Tour, the layout of my studio still remains the same. It's been working for me over the last 3 months. I did do a switch up in one of my shelves, which you will see in a second, where I'm able to house more plants in the studio, and I did get rid of 2 of my white decorative chairs so I can have more room for plants. I'll give you guys a quick overview of what the space looks like, and then we'll go ahead and talk about the plants. I want to say, since my last Spring 2020 plant tour of my studio, I want to say about 70% of the plants still remain in the studio from the last tour, and 30% of the plants in today's tour is different from my Spring 2020 plant tour, whether it's new or recently styled in the studio. So I hope you guys enjoy this updated tour. Let's get started. All right, so here is a point of view from my patio. When you enter into my studio, the layout remains the same, except 2 decorative chairs I sold off so that I'm able to house more plants in the studio. You'll see in a second. It's been working for me, where the bed's tucked in the corner. I have the love seat now in front of my window that doesn't bring any natural lighting. I sit there a lot to edit. So first thing you see when you walk into my studio remains the same from the last plant tour. I have George Jr. here along with my original Dracaena. They do really good in this little corner pocket, so I haven't decided to put anything else there. But when I do travel, they do come out into the patio because there's no natural lighting in my space. But I love them here, and I'm gonna keep them here for the remaining of the year, and we'll see next year if I decide to switch up the plants. But for now, it's been working out for me. On my dining table, there's a few things here that I wanted to point out. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but I did create a little mobile here with my Hoya Bella blooms and my asparagus ferns, and it says Evie. I really like it a lot. So I've been having fun with resin. And then down here I have 2 resin pieces that I wanted to point out. On the right you see Tanya's beautiful Cactus Bloom. It is the largest bloom I've ever preserved, and I love the piece so much. On the left you see my largest resin piece here, and this is a tray mold. This is the first tray mold I ever poured. I love it a lot, and there's a lot of gold leafing in it, so it's gorgeous. I'm gonna continue to make more pieces, but just some fun little resin pieces styled on my dining table. And you see my one ficus here is doing really good. At the end of the video you'll see an up close of it, but I do keep this ficus in my bathroom while I'm away traveling, and it loves living in the bathroom while I'm away, but it continues to live on my dining table since the last tour. It's just so cute. I love looking at it while I eat. That's pretty much it for my dining table. Not so much. I do use this dining table to also pour resin on, so I try to not have much things on it, and I do live in a small space, so one plant works for me. Things I wanted to point out here, as you see, I brought in my larger white shelf to this section. It was originally on the opposite side of my studio, just kind of holding all of my decorative memorabilia and things like that, but I decided to switch the bookcase that was here with this shelf, and it works out better for me because I'm able to house more plants. And the plant gang on the right is still remaining the same, housing kind of the same plants since the last plant tour. Here is the new summer 2020 plant gang. Now that I sold the white chairs, I have more space for plants, and with this taller plant shelf here instead of the opposite side of my studio housing memorabilia, it is now housing plants. So I'm able to have more plants in this space, and there goes Abby hiding under the bed. So my house plants, my Sansevieria, my Philodendron Rio, and my Peperomia obtusifolia, they go outside in the patio while I'm away, but the smaller Sansevierias stay here. There's no natural lighting coming out of this window behind my love seat, but I do make this space work for me. I just have some few cuttings up there. Looks like a philodendron as well as Peperomia Watermelon in water. I have my new Philodendron Rio. I really love this plant a lot. It is my second one. The first one you will see in a second is all gifted or traded out to me from subscribers. I have another epiphyllum piece, which I really love. It's in a rectangle shape. So you see now I'm able to house a lot of my resin pieces, which is super cool, from the collection. And then I have my Sansevieria Samurai On the second shelf, I'm able to have a little crystal now. So it's just, I love the update since the last plant tour. I have my new baby rubber plant there, Sansevieria, as well as my Pilea peperomioides, and then you see my Hoya multiflora piece in the heart, and then I have my Epiphyllum bloom. It just gave me one this year, and I'm able to have it forever now with my crafting skills. Third shelf here, I have two of my Sansevierias and Ebby's baby picture, and then my Peperomia obtusifolia. And I don't know if there's any marbling in the leaves. It might just be different shades of green. That is my original one. I actually gifted Tanya a part of it. It's living in her plant collection now in her patio. Every single Sansevieria in this plant gang here is new, minus some parts of the Banto sensation that I originally had. But other than that, I love the updated look of this little pocket. I love collecting Sansevierias, so it's nice to have my newer Sansevierias in this space. But if you haven't watched my patio plant tour, it is the video prior to this one. Check out the rest of the Sansevierias. They're just kind of scattered throughout my space. But all of these ones here in this little corner pocket are all new to the collection. And they were not in the collection for spring 2020 plant tour, so this is a very fun update. As you see, my humidifier is doing work here. The plants here kind of remain the same. I do have my Philodendron silver sword, my Anthurium, and then my Monstera Adansonii. I'm gonna have to fix it because as you can see, it's now way past its moss pole that I created. It's probably like 2 feet longer past the pole, so I'm gonna have to redo that. I will probably, maybe if I have time before I leave for my little birthday getaway at the end of the week, I can go ahead and restake it in a larger pole. I'm gonna have to go down to my local hardware store, and I think I'm just gonna pick up a bunch of supplies to update the front of the home with another shelf and then larger poles for my babies because they're all overgrown, which is good. I'm not complaining at all. But it's doing really good in this space. All of these houseplants do go outside in the patio or in my bathroom while I'm away traveling. And I love the humidifier. If you haven't checked out my humidifier review, go and find it on the channel. A company was nice enough to send it to me to share on the channel and to have in my space. Point of view from my bed, and it's been working for me. I always try to think like how else I can style plants. So if you guys have any other ideas that you think I can style plants in this small little space, sound off in the comments down below. But this for me has been working out, so I just continue to use the same layout. So here's the updated look of the plant shelf. Some new babies since the last plant tour has been styled on here. It's been working well for me to have the plant shelf here because it does get a lot of natural lighting with my kitchen window and the humidifier behind it. On the top shelf from left to right, I have my Philodendron Squamous. It's a hit or miss with me. Like sometimes I feel like it's doing good and then sometimes it stresses me out. This plant does live in my bathroom tub when I am traveling. Other than that, it lives here. All of my larger house plants, when I do water the plants outside, they'll come outside and get watered too. My variegated peace lily is doing good in LECA. I never have problems with it ever since I converted it, and it has given me so many new leaves and not even a problem now that I travel and have it in a LECA setup. So if you have a variegated peace lily giving you trouble, switch it up to LECA and it's like living its best life. So I'm really happy I did that conversion. And then my Monstera Thai Constellation is still the same. It has not given me any new signs of growth. I'm kind of like upset about that, but I'm being patient. You'll see in a second my elbow has given me some activity, which I'm really happy about. On the middle shelf, you see my original Philodendron Rio. These are from 3 different subscribers, and I have them all in one planter. And then I have my Peperomia Glabella, and it's doing good. These are cuttings from Carrie's mother plant. It's been living in LECA ever since I had it in the collection. I'm not going to change it up because you will see in the bathroom plant tour I have a mother plant in soil doing really good, so this will just stay in LECA. And then I have my Philodendron here that I got as a trade, I believe, from my subscriber, doing really good. In the last plant tour, it was living in the bathroom, but I have so many plants in the bathroom, you'll see in the next plant tour, that this one had to come out. And then I have my second Philodendron Brazil. My original one is in the patio living in soil. I wanted to experiment. If you watch my channel, I try to experiment converting plants to leca. So I got another smaller Philodendron Brazil to play with, and it's been living in leca, and I am going to keep it in this setup and see how well it does. But so far so good. I have not had any problems with the plant being converted in the semi-hydro setup. So that's something to take note of if you're looking to switch over to convert your plants to semi-hydro. On the bottom, you see I have a Sansevieria starfish on the left, followed by a Haworthia ripsalis in the center, another Sansevieria, and a Gasteria. These plant babies on the bottom row have been all living here since the last plant tour, maybe styled differently, but on this plant shelf. These plant babies on the bottom have been doing really good in this section of my studio, so they move around on the shelves, but they do stay here, and so far so good. Ideally, I would like to have all of my ripsalises in the patio, but I just have too many plants, and it's nice to have just variety in my studio if I can, so I just try to make it work for me. But these are the plant babies on the shelf. So as you see, I have the blue and white. So here's a very fun update of my Monstera elbow, and it gave me a new leaf here on the left, and on that new leaf you see another new leaf popping out, and that just happened while I was away for a week. So I'm really happy about this update because I've had this Monstera for so long and it wasn't giving me any growth only until now. So very fun update. This plant does live in my shower while I'm away traveling. Otherwise, it stays here, and it loves living here in the studio, so it's going to remain staying here. So I still have my macrame hanger here housing 3 plants. My plant stand that houses 2 plants, I think this remains the same from the last plant tour. I have my variegated rubber plant down there doing really good. You see my beautiful Philodendron bipenifolium. It's doing really good. My panda, it's so tall that you see I have a bamboo stake holding up the top because it needs a larger pole. It's like 4 feet, maybe 3 feet past its moss pole. So either propagate or make a larger pole. So I'm not too sure. I hate cutting my plants unless I sell them off. Otherwise, I like to keep it with the mother plant. My Sansevieria starfish, my original one, still remains on the top of that macrame. It's doing really good. The baby is growing so huge. I recently moved my Hoya linearis here on the macrame hanger, maybe for like the last 2 weeks, so it hasn't been here too long. Last time it was living on my plant shelf, and I moved it over to a terracotta, so we'll see. I'm gonna give it a month in this little section, and it trolls all the way down. If it's not happy, I'll move it to another part of my collection. On the bottom of my macrame, I have my second philodendron, and it's doing really good. Philodendron is such an easy house plant, so if you're new to houseplants and want a vining trailing plant, this one is your best bet. Since my last plant tour, my spider plant still remains in the same spot. It's just gorgeous, and I love having it in my space. It gives me definitely some retro vibes. I don't know if it likes the humidifier or not, but I haven't had any problems with him in this little corner pocket, and it gets enough sunlight. The spider plant will remain in this corner pocket here. It was here from the last plant tour. It hasn't given me any problems. And this plant does also come out to the patio when I am away traveling. No changes here since my last plant tour. I did move my neon philodendron in that macrame hanger into a white ceramic planter because the last time it was in a terracotta, so I switched that up. Otherwise, I have my original Senecio Wax Ivy here along with my Bigfoot, which is trailing all the way up my window. It's vining like crazy. And then my 3 ripsalises here. I'm always propagating on my windowsill, and then I have my bamboo. But these plants were here from the last plant tour. I like having them here, so they're gonna remain staying here for the rest of the year. Bear with me with the lighting. I dropped down my bamboo shade a little so you can see what's living on the top of my baker's rack. My Paradoxa is still here on the left hand side. I have some ripsalises, Sansevieria, and a Pilea baby, and these kind of rotate. My Paradoxa stays here. It's doing really good. I like it trailing on my baker's rack. But this baker's rack is great for plants, so if you don't have a lot of space or don't have a full kitchen, get a baker's rack and you can house plant babies on the top of it. And this is my one window that brings in natural light. Here is an overview of the plant shelf. There's always stuff happening on here. As you see, I collect owls. My heartleaf philodendron is always going to remain staying here because it's long and traily. And I have my silver satin pothos with a bunch of cuttings rooted in water trailing on the side. I have 2 propagation bottles on the top there. I have my Philodendron Brazil and my jade pothos. They just trail on the side. They are rooted in water, so they're just hidden behind this silver satin pothos. So that's everything on the top. Of my silver sword on the left, it wasn't doing really good, but I see it's giving me new growth, so maybe in time I can maybe put it in leca, but for now it's in water. This Monstera Adansonii came from my subscriber in Temecula, and then I have one of my Peperomias and semi-hydro. So those are the pot babies currently living on the second shelf. Interesting things happening here on this shelf. In the back left corner, I have my Monstera Cuttings, which I know I've talked in a previous weekend check-in. I'm going to take those out of water vessels and I'm going to put them in moss and see if it does better that way. I have my Painted Lady Philodendron rooted in semi-hydro. I'm probably gonna plant that up into soil very soon, as well as some Hoyas here on the right hand side. And behind the Hoyas, I have part of my original bipenifolium, and it's just a cutting, and it's actually rooted, so I can plant that up into soil. I can sell it, gift it, trade it. I have my Hoya Australis Lisa living in water. That was given to me from a subscriber in Long Beach. She was having a hard time with it, and actually I recently put it in water maybe about 2 weeks ago because it was not happy living in soil. It was so paper thin, but now since I have it in water, it has perked up. But I think I'm gonna put this one into semi-hydro, and then I just have part of my Hoya Crimson Princess as well rooted in water. So I'm just going to transfer these ones into leca. Lady is gonna transition into soil, and then the 2 Hoyas here on the right are going to transition into semi-hydro. So just some temporary housing. Fun things happening on this shelf. A lot of semi-hydro. I have part of my Hoya Bellas living in semi-hydro. I like to switch things up, experiment with my plants. Hoyas do really well in semi-hydro, so if you are looking to convert plants into semi-hydros, Hoyas do really well in semi-hydro. My original Marble Queen Pothos, I believe, is in the back left corner. That's what's left of it. And then my second Marble Queen Pothos, look at it. It's thriving here in the center, living in semi-hydro. These variegated plants, for whatever reason, they just stress me out in soil. Ever since they lived in a semi-hydro environment, the Marble Queen Pothos do really well. So they're going to remain living in this setup for its entirety. And I believe this is some kind of anthurium here on the left, and that was part of my plant trade from my subscriber in Long Beach. It was living in my bathroom originally, and now it lives here on the plant shelf, and it's giving me so much new growth. The bottom last 2 shelves, let's talk about everything on this water vessel shelf here. So I have my Philodendron Mandianum, and that is part of my plant trade from my subscriber. That is going to transition to soil, so it won't be in this part of my studio for very long. It's in water, it's rooted now. And then I have part of my Monstera Adansonii that I propagated living in semi-hydro. And then I also have another Monstera cutting here in the center in front of my owl. That was from my second plant trade from my subscriber. It is not rooted up in water. Both of my Monstera cuttings on these shelves are going to go into a moss setup, and I'm going to see if it can root up that way. Now you see tucked in that back right corner, that is my Pothos and Joy. Believe it or not, it's doing really good in water and giving me tons of new growth. I cannot believe it. It was actually living in soil. It's gonna live in this setup full time now because ever since I switched it out to a water vessel, you can see so much new growth and a lot of new leaves. I'm so happy I was able to do that switch up. And then I have my Pilea rooted cuttings from my subscriber. It's gonna live in water as well its entirety because it's a very dramatic plant. If you don't water it in soil, it'll droop really fast and easy. And on the bottom, I just have 2 of my Sansevierias. They do get lighting here, but because it's like so low to the ground, I chose to put low lighting plants on the bottom just in case. And while I am away, this plant shelf does have my grow light on while I'm traveling so that it gets some kind of lighting. Otherwise, it'll just be in the dark. Alright guys, that is gonna wrap up my updated summer 2020 plant tour. Just wanted to give you a brief update of what the space looks like, how I'm styling plants, the new switch up I did switching out my shelves so I'm able to house more plants in this section. You got to see all of the new Sansevierias living in my home and some of my fun resin pieces. I hope you guys enjoyed this summer 2020 plant tour episode 3. Stay tuned because I'm going to film my bathroom plant tour next, which will be the following episode after today. So let's talk about the giveaway and the giveaway rules. I love doing giveaways on my plant tour. It's just a little thank you back for supporting the channels. No matter what giveaway it is, you have to be subscribed to both of my channels, my main channel, my vlog channel, and following me on Instagram, both accounts, my main account, my plant account. Leave in the comments down below the city, state, or country you are living in, as well as what is your current favorite houseplant in your collection. I will pick a winner 1 week from the time this video goes live. So in today's giveaway, I wanted to give away my Planting with Jewelyn 2020 merchandise. These are my handmade pot holders with Monstera print, and these were made by my grandma in Hawaii. I love using them in my kitchen. They're adorable. I love the colors, the aesthetic of it. So I will go ahead and ship this out to one of you 1 week from now. I will choose the winner and I will announce it on my Planting with Jewelyn Instagram stories. Anyone can enter the giveaway as long as you have a mailing address. I'm more than happy to ship this anywhere around the world. Please make sure that your YouTube profile is public. So that's gonna wrap up today's video. I hope you found this inspiring. Love seeing the little switch up of my plant shelf here and seeing the new babies in my space. I love that I was able to house more plants in that section. Now that the white decorative chairs are not in my space, I can have my new Sansevierias and my larger plant stand here and house more of my plants along with some resin pieces. So I hope you guys enjoyed this updated plant tour. Stay tuned. I will do an end of the year plant tour and we'll see what kind of updates I can do to my space. If you're new, welcome to the channel. Subscribe for daily uploads between the main channel Monday to Thursday and the vlog channel Friday to Sunday. You get a video each and every day. Until next time, aloha from Santa Monica, California. Bye.